Hi everyone, it's David Wheeler at Wycombe Wanderers and you're listening to the Wycombe Wanderers Show.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show. In the next hour, and not necessarily in this order, you'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth, Chris Farino. We got our debrief with Phil. That's on the way in a few moments' time. And also we got some highlights for you from Saturday's game at Oxford as well. We've got a showbiz section. This week we'll hear from Rachel from Wycombe Swan and Matt from Wycombe Wanderers, looking ahead to Beast Mode On, the screenings which are coming to Wycombe Swan later this month. Haven't had a showbiz section of the show before. Also, with thanks to Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association, we'll catch up with a former player and former assistant manager, but still just the one person, Alan Davies. He's coming up a bit later on as well. Plus, we'll bring you the latest on the Chairgirls as well. But first, an eventful day on Saturday at Oxford, as described by Phil.
Welcome to the Kassam here in sunny Oxfordshire. Wycombe Wanderers taking on Oxford United in the M40 derby with Sam Vokes. Gate in midfield scrapping, and then Taylor just loops one over the top for Marcus Brown to chase. Chris Farino heads the ball back to Striek, but he doesn't get there and he goes down. Penalty. Disastrous stuff from Wycombe Wanderers. Chris Farino heads the ball back to Striek, who didn't get there in time. Brown did, beat the keeper to it, went down, and the referee in a good position points to the penalty spot. And for the second week in a row, Wycombe Wanderers face a first half penalty, but that's poor play.
Yeah, Wycombe's penalty woes continuing into this game.
Brannigan versus Striek, who gave away the penalty. Can he atone for this now? Brannigan, right-footed, approaches the ball. It's beaten away by Striek, and the rebound as well. Brilliant double stop by the keeper, but Oxford still on the attack. And Anis Rametti heads clear, and it's the Wycombe fans celebrating that like a goal. But Oxford come again. In fact, no, they've won a free kick, Wycombe. The beaters come short, but Mawson is winding up a long one into the box. Vokes doesn't win the flick on, but it drops down to wing from the headed clearance. Back in by Freeman now. Farino's there. Will it drop to a red shirt? It doesn't. Farino unable to fashion anything there. But Wycombe come again with Mawson. They drill it into Farino. Scores! Pinpoint bar, passed by Alfie Mawson, and Chris Farino just cushions the ball into the bottom corner. Oxford 0, Wycombe Wanderers 1. There's the spark. Abita into Mametti. Back to Abita. Wings made the run, but the cross comes and it's a good ball in. Big Chris is up, just past the post. Not far away from getting a second goal of the day for Chris Farino. Referee has a look at his watch, Keith Stroud. Blows a full-time whistle, and Wycombe's run of defeats has ended, and they've beaten Oxford United at the Kassam for the first time since 2014. It's been a tough 3 weeks for the Chairboys, but that's a big victory. And we'll leave you with the full-time score here at the Kassam. Oxford United 0, Wycombe Wanderers 1.
Certainly an eventful day on Saturday. Of course, quite a delay in the proceedings as well due to that fan taken ill. Challenging time for your match commentator. We can hear from Phil now.
Yeah, that was. It's never easy having to deal with stuff like that, and it puts things into perspective a little bit as well, doesn't it? Because a hugely worrying situation for the person and their family. Reports are that they've done well and this week and on the road to recovery. But a big shout out as well to all the staff at Oxford United, especially for dealing with the situation so well, keeping everybody informed, and then sort of taking a calm and balanced approach and getting the game back on when everything was okay to do so. Tough for us to deal with. I think even harder for the players because you get warmed up, you get ready, you get out there, you're 10, 15 minutes into a match and then all of a sudden you're back down the tunnel, and then they came back out and then had to have another big warm-up to get going and straight back in. And I think Wycombe started the restart much better, and full testament to them for that as well. It was always going to be a tough game as well. Two teams coming into it with a lot to lose in terms of their position in the table, not really happy with the start of the season for Oxford or Wycombe Wanderers. The fans for both teams, I think, were concerned of the sticky start. So that added a bit more spice to it. It's already a spicy game without that, but I think Wycombe played the occasion better, I think, throughout the game, including the break. And that was good to see. And I think it was really good to see the goal as well, real quality in the goal. And then the defensive performance as well was really good. After the game, I spoke to Gareth Ainsworth and he agreed.
The lads were superb, defended unbelievably well today. We knew away from home at Oxford. They've got injuries, I've got injuries. That's why both teams are battling where they are at the moment, and it was a big game for both clubs, I think. And I have to empathise with Carl. You know, when you can't put your best players on the pitch, you do struggle for points, you know, and I think that come second half of the season, both clubs will be flying, you know, but we have these issues at the moment. So to get the win for me was really needed, super special, and that's the reason I walked straight over to the fans at the end. The players are with me, my staff are with me, them fans are with me, and it felt that today, you know, and it felt at the end they know, they understand, which is great for me, and so, you know, with everything that went on today, I was just glad to be able to deliver a win, which it is a derby game, and it was played like one, wasn't it? And I was really pleased that we got the 3 points at the end of the day.
Let's talk about the pass for the goal. Alfie Mawson onto the head of Chris Farino. I don't think we're going to see a better pass in League One today, are we?
No, but you saw one at Barnsley when he went and hit David Wheeler. I think they were very similar. You know, Alfie is the best centre half in League One. You know, in his prime, he was England call-up. You know, and those moments show why he was called up for England, why he played in the Premier League. Injuries have really hurt his career, but we're looking after him. He looks $1 million at the moment, you know, and credit to the medical team. Of all the injuries we have, people will be looking at them going, what's going on? They're keeping players like Alfie going, Sam Vokes going, you know, the Gareth McCleary going, sensational players for this team, and Alfie definitely delivered a brilliant pass. But I want to talk about the header as well. There's a lot to do on that, and Chris Farino, for the boy who, you know, has been through the mill in his life, released here, there and everywhere. I thought he had a fantastic game today. Still some learning points for him, but what a header. From the local derby away from home at the away end, the home end at Oxford, you know what I'm talking about. But just brilliant moment for him, and he'll remember that for a long time, I'm sure. But both of those will credit Max's double penalty save, the way we defended, you know, people coming into the team, JJ, probably a few eyebrows might have been raised, you know, because he's had an indifferent sort of campaign so far with a couple of things that have gone against us. And again, not JJ's fault. Injuries were open sometimes, and it's hard. I thought he was imperious today. I thought he was brilliant at the back there. So really, really proud of the boys, you know, and getting a couple of the young ones, Jasper and TJ, on at the end is again real positives for the club. We've got a real good young group coming through, and that will come through in a year or so. But now was important because we needed those points.
A real day for characters as well, because the two players that combined to give away the penalty have really pulled through today. The double save from Strick and the goal from Chris Farino, and a big performance from Big Chris as well. That shows character, doesn't it?
Yeah. Chris's biggest thing is going to be the mental side. It is for most players, but Chris especially, because probably the life he's had and the way he's been from club to club to club, but he has a home here. He has a manager who believes in him, and teammates who believe in him. And when he plays like that, there's his undoubted ability, you know. Learning the header, he's got away with it today. Learning when the wind's against you, it might not reach that header, you know. You've got to really open your eyes, see where Max is, and plod it in his hands. But the rest was down to the Polish keeper, and I thought he again was sensational. You know, it's stuff to work on. Lee Harrison would have been proud of that one, and I've heard they've got a win at Colchester today, which I'm really, really pleased for Blooms. Both of us got the win, which was great, you know, and it felt really good at the end. Although, you know, I understand where Oxford are with the injuries they have, so I think the second half of the season is going to be different for both clubs.
We spoke on Thursday. He said, I look like a genius if we go to the Somme and then win the next game. You're a genius, Gareth Ainsworth.
I don't think I used the word genius, did I? But if I did, okay, you might have used that. Listen, ask my school teachers. There's no way I was a genius. I will take. I won't take credit. I will give the boys credit for the way they took on the 2 days in the Somme, and coming away from football and not training on the back of 3 defeats. You know, it takes some characters to go, you know, are we doing the right thing here? But they all believed. And we referenced it before the game. We referenced it, your pals, battalions, your mates with you. That's what you are on there. And they were together today. They ran for each other. They defended for each other. You know, it was a fantastic trip, and it could have gone the other way. And even if it went the other way today, I still would have said what a fantastic trip. It was well worthwhile. But luckily we got the result. And you know, at the end there, it was almost soldier-like, the defending they had to do. You know, Oxford, somebody said, I've had 28 shots. I think 20 of them probably outside the box, you know, and over the bar and hopeful. That's fine. We expect Max to save them. We expect them not to go on target. We had some opportunities. What I want to work on this week is probably our opportunities become few and far between in these sort of games. We've got to make them count.
Great to hear from the manager, and so many talking points from the game. Obviously, Alfie's assist and obviously first touch as well, which was quite impressive.
Yeah, let's think about this. This was a really high quality goal, and this was the two centre backs, two of the three centre backs on the day, combining for a goal of such beauty and quality, which shows you the depth and quality there is at Wycombe Wanderers. We all know Alfie's got it in his locker, but you're right. The first touch was a little bit overlooked, wasn't it? Because the pass was so special. But actually, the first touch was the foundation for that pass. And yeah, it's great to see Alfie back in the Wycombe Wanderers shirt. And quite ironic, where we've been talking about injuries quite a lot in the last 2-3 weeks or 2-3 months even. And when Alfie rejoined, there was a big concern over his recent injury record. But he's been playing week in, week out, touch wood, and looking very good. So yeah, it's great to see. But I mean, also the finish was, I think I didn't really do it justice at the time because it was right onto Chris's forehead, but he had a lot to do from there as well. He had to position it and cushion it correctly, and he did a really good job of that too. And it's a real joy to see Chris Farino as one of our own, someone who was plucked from university football straight into the rigours of a League One squad, and to see him grow week in, week out as a player and a person is a real joy to watch. And defensively, I thought he did superbly well. Bearing in mind he made a major error in the game along with Max Striek to give away the penalty, but Max atoned for that error, and then Chris didn't let that dwell on him either, and produced an otherwise flawless display against a tricky player in Marcus Brown, but really good defensive display, capped off with the winning goal as well. And it was great to speak to Chris after the full-time whistle too.
Been a long time, I think February, Lincoln, so did enjoy it. It might not have looked that way, I didn't really crack a smile, but yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Talk me through the assist, because that was a hell of a pass from Alfie Mawson.
Yeah, I'm yet to speak to him about whether he meant it or not, but as I said, I'm sure he probably will claim he meant it, but it's a great ball. Great.
Still plenty to do though from there, and you found the bottom corner brilliantly.
Yeah, I thought it was going to hit the post, to be fair, but it just had just enough fade, and like recent times one that might have hit the post for us, but I had a bit of luck today with that going in, and yeah.
And showed great character as well, because you and Max had a bit of confusion about the penalty in the first half, but like all good pros, just get on with it, and then you made it count at the other end.
Yeah, I think after that it was the break, obviously, and I hope the fans are right. Sorry, I should have said that first and foremost. We've been told he's stabilised, so that's obviously positive news, but I mean the break came at the right time. I had to collect myself, obviously, and yeah, get on with the game, to be fair. I think old me would have hung on to that and had a bit of a hangover coming out, but move to one side and get on with the game.
Great character from you, but great character from the team as well, because that was a tough battle today.
Yeah, it was a proper good old scrap. I mean, defended our box, communicating, and yeah, looking to my right and left, like you've got Alfie, Jason, JJ, Jordan, a lot of players that know what they're doing in terms of that, and it's part of Wycombe, and I've learned that since I've been there. When we need to dig in, we've all got each other's back. Obviously prepping this week, went to the Somme on Monday and Tuesday. Not a lot of clubs would have done that, and I think today was a perfect example of being like, yeah, we're going to dig in together and no one's getting through us.
Yeah, it was an interesting week, and Gareth said that was reflected before the game today as well. It was spoken about.
Yeah, it was mentioned in the pre-game talk, and I think the boys realised, of course, how lucky we are to do what we love and do what we enjoy, and go in there was a real eye-opener, and I think it made everyone feel a bit grateful, and a real period of like reflection, Monday and Tuesday, and going into it, I feel like the boys were a bit more fired up today.
After some tough away games this season, is that a game that can kick-start us now?
Absolutely. We've been waiting for a performance and result like this that we've needed. Obviously, the rub of the green last week didn't particularly go our way, because I feel like we were hard done by not to come away with anything against Plymouth, but as I said, that's sometimes the way it goes. This performance here is something for us to now build on.
Really nice to hear from Chris Farino, and as you said, he really is sort of growing into his role and settling in so well, and a brilliant story that he has as well.
Yeah, I think it was Oily Sailor who's coined the nickname the UCAS Baresi, which is, I think, a fantastic nickname. And it lends itself into some clearing puns as well, which I think for a defender is always useful. But yeah, so he's a really good lad, Chris. And as I said earlier, it's great to see him sort of develop as a player and a person. And he's really enjoying his time at Wycombe Wanderers. I know the fans love seeing him out there as well. He's picked the pre-match playlist this week for the Peterborough game, So it's good to get to know him a bit more about his musical choices as well. But yeah, he's just a very impressive young man, and it's great to see him involved at Wycombe and really progressing. And he's the next one off that production line. Alex Vermetti, Chris Farino, and then hopefully a lot more to come.
And we've not even touched on the double penalty save yet.
Well, yeah, Max Striek, fantastic, wasn't it? I think he probably would have held up his gloved hands and said, yeah, culpable in giving away the penalty along with Chris. But then brilliant save. Cameron Brannigan, let's not forget, is a specialist from the spot. He scored 4 penalties in one game last season. He's got a very good record from the penalty spot. But I think with Max, he stood up well. I think it was a really good save. Lovely to see the side angle that a fan took on their phone showed that Max's foot was still on the line. And so there was no doubt about any encroachment. He guessed right. And I think when you're a keeper, if you can guess right, then you're a long way to getting there. And then it was a really good save. But then the second save from Henry was just out of this world, because that's just pure instinct and brilliant bit of goalkeeping, because he did what all good goalkeepers should do, picked himself up, made himself as big as possible. And the second save was fantastic. And the fans celebrated it like a goal. They had the perfect view of it from their position at the Kassam, and it was celebrated like a goal. And I think obviously when the unfortunate break in play came, it meant that Wycombe were going down the tunnel, pumped up, and maybe they used that in that long 45 minutes break, and then in that warm up to kind of gee them on to restart the game better. But yeah, a real turning point in the game, and perhaps, Colin, a turning point in the season as well, because it was a big contribution to the 3 points against Oxford on Saturday, and hopefully this victory can be a springboard now for Wycombe Wanderers to get on a really good run.
It really feels like it, doesn't it, with the injuries coming back and some of the opposition that are approaching as well.
Yeah, every game in League One's a big game, but Peterborough, then it's MK Dons in the league. In between, we've got a knockout game in essence in the Papa John's Trophy against Peterborough as well. And then these are all big games, aren't they? So, but I think for Wycombe now, they've tended to go on runs. I really hope this is the start of a really good run now, because after Peterborough, then MK Dons, and then there's some home games again as well. And then there's Cambridge, Port Vale, Morecambe. These are all to come up at Adams Park as well. And whereas we say they're all tough games in League One, you'd look at those as home games and think perhaps these are winnable games. I mean, Gareth will tell you they're all winnable, but you know what I mean when I look at that run of fixtures and think, well, if we can get through the next 2 games with positive results, then all of a sudden we could be looking at a Wycombe Wanderers style run of getting back up the table. And it's still a tight table. I know the top 2 are making a really good run of it, and the pace is incredible at the top of the table. I'm not sure if that can be sustained or not, but if Wycombe can get a little run together, then they'll soon be back there or thereabouts around that top 6, and hopefully fans will be happier with looking at the table on a Sunday morning.
And we'll hear about it later on the show as well. But from a double save to a double screening, fantastic that Adebayo Akinfenwa's beast mode on is being shown at Wycombe Swan.
Yeah, well, we've all been very keen on to see what Adebayo Akinfenwa was going to do after hanging up the boots. I think he was on record as saying he wasn't going to go into management. So the media side of it was always going to be where he was going to go. But I'm really looking forward to seeing this documentary, because obviously we all know about Bayo the footballer, but there's that really great story about Bayo the person, and we all really miss him here. I know the players do and the fans do, but we all miss him here as staff at Wycombe Wanderers as well, because he was such a fantastically positive person, such a massive character. And the one thing I always take away with my sort of meetings with Bayo and interviews and stuff and chats is that he would always never be defined by his circumstances. Never let someone tell you can't do something because of something that in essence isn't in your control. And that's been a really powerful message for me. I got into the media in my mid-30s, and everyone told me that I was too old. I should be doing it. I should be doing something else. And do you know what? I think I took quite a bit of inspiration from Bayo as a person. And I think a lot of football fans in general may have similar stories. And you get inspiration from all sorts of people in life, but it's always the really positive, great people who've also achieved really great things as well against the odds that really help you kind of get up on a morning some days and think, yeah, today's a tough day, but it's like, what would Bayo do today? So he's been a really important character. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this documentary, and it's great to have him back in Wycombe as well, and back in the theatre. I mean, that's another great thing as well, getting the Wycombe Swan. He's a big man, it's a big place, but I'm sure he'll fill it.
Are you in the documentary yourself?
I don't think so, no. I don't think the world's
wandering
ready for
past
that,
in the background or something.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Brilliant to chat to you, and enjoy the game on Saturday.
I will certainly do so, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It's a spicy one, this one.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure, Colin.
Great chat to Phil. Of course, I'm sure you know, is the host of Ringing in the Blues, head of audio and broadcast at the football club, and our matchday commentator. He'll be bringing you ball-by-ball commentary, they call it, at the game on Saturday at Adams Park against Peterborough. Don't forget you can hear those chats with Chris Farino and Gareth Ainsworth in full on Wanderers TV.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth and assistant manager of Wycombe Wanderers women Dan Webber as well. But first, an announcement. The Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association are holding their annual dinner on Friday the 18th of November. It's taking place at Adams Park, and the association would like to know how many ex-players and fans would like to attend. Those who want to go could either contact Alan Hutchinson or John D. Taylor, whose details you can get on the website. And they'll be very pleased to hear from you. Continuing the theme of former players, we've been catching up with Alan Davies. He had 2 spells at the club, one as an assistant manager with Mike Keane, and his first as a player after Brian Lee got in touch.
Brian, and especially John Reardon, his assistant, John was ringing me up 2 or 3 times a week, I don't know, for about a year, I think, trying to get me to Wycombe. But I was at Dunstable, and at that time, I was quite happy, and I turned them down. But obviously, in the summer, I went on holiday, came back. Barry Fry, who was my manager then, said, "Alan, you better get yourself to Wycombe. It's gone a bit pear-shaped here." So they got in touch with me again, and I signed for Brian. Being a Wycombe boy, I grew up as a lad. We played Saturday mornings in those days, and we run home, got on the bus back up to Lowe's Park, to watch our local team. And I can't remember all the players, but we used to watch Lem Worley and Cliff Trott and people like that, and as I say, obviously then I went professional, so, I sort of lost a little bit of what was going on in local football. But, I always sort of look for their results.
That must have been something that was extra special, though, to play for your local team.
Yeah, I was a little bit, when they was chasing me all that time, Brian and John, I was a little bit disappointed in the sense that when I did sign, it was only about 2 or 3 weeks later that Brian stepped to one side and went upstairs, and Ted Powell took over. So I was a little bit disappointed not to play for Brian, but, that's football, so that's the way it goes.
I guess as well, when different managers come in, you perhaps don't necessarily have the same rapport with the one who brought you to the club.
No, exactly. And, I played under a lot of managers, and, Ted was Ted. He had his clipboard. We used to go up the top at Lokes Park, do our session, come back on the pitch on a Thursday night to do pattern of play. And one particular night, you could see the frost settling round our feet, and sort of 6 times into the pattern of play, always remember Bodger, Tony Orsman. Ted was trying to tell him where to run in the box. And I think you didn't have to tell Bodger where to run in the box of the amount of goals he scored for Wycombe. So Bodger sort of quite politely said, "I'm going in the bath." That was the end of the session.
And how did you find playing on the slope? Because a lot of extra ex-players, of course, don't remember the slope. I guess it depends on your position.
Yeah, I think it did. It didn't give me a problem. I was always, I'm only 5'7", but I was always centre forward, and I always scored goals. But then I sort of went into midfield, and that's where I played while I was at Wycombe. So, that didn't give me a problem, really.
So were there any games or particular occasions that stood out in your first spell there?
We played Dunstable, where I just come from, in pre-season. I scored against them. And then the very first game, and I can't remember who that was actually, but it was at home, and I scored in that game. And then for whatever reason, I started off, and then gradually, I don't suppose I was one of Ted's sort of players. And I sort of, come Christmas, I got a phone call from Barry Fry saying, "When are you coming?" I said, "When am I coming where?" And he just got the job at Hillingdon. And I went to Hillingdon, and it was a bit disappointing leaving Wycombe, but it wasn't to be.
So I suppose at that point you didn't imagine you'd be on your way back again at any time.
No, I certainly didn't. As I say, I was at Illingdon for 6 seasons, and I ended up going to Kingstonian for a short while. And I think it was the Itachi League Cup in those days. Who did we draw in the semi-final? Was Wycombe. And then Dave Alexander played for Kingstonian as well, another ex-Wycombe player. And we drew at home. And obviously Wycombe were favourites at Lokes Park, but we beat them to go into the final. Then Mick Keane, who was my brother-in-law, at the end of the season asked me what I was doing, and he offered me the job as his assistant. And I thought, well, I can't go wrong. Wycombe Wanderers, what a good position to be in. What do? You sort of come to that sort of time in your career when you have to make decisions. But as I say, that year we won the league, which was good. And the following season, I think we was about 5th in the league, and Mick told me that they wasn't going to renew his contract. So, and I left as well, and I went back to Hillingdon as a player.
So what was it like kind of making that transition, if you like, from player to coach?
Well, I think, experience, when you've been in the game for quite a while, I think you've got to have something a little bit about you, because some of the players, what were in the side in those days, I mean, you had some good players, Howard Kennedy, Kenny Wilson, and obviously, having played against them the season before, they must have wondered what I was doing, whether I was going to be a player or assistant. But Mick was a good coach, and he loved the 5-a-sides and the shooting drills. But I always loved training, and it was, to me, you had to work hard to get the results. And that's what we done. And initially, I think it came a little bit hard to some of the players. I remember the first night pre-season, Mick split the lads up into 3 groups, gave me the main group of the first team. So we done our warm-up, which lasted about 35, 40 minutes. And when Mick blew the whistle to all come in, I remember one player saying, well, I shan't say exactly what he said, but he sort of said, who the hell you got here, Mick? Because I think that's the hardest they trained, and that was only the warm-up. But it paid off, and I ain't saying that was all due to me winning the league, but I think, as I say, you've got to work hard.
Because I think as well, as a coach, you can obviously bring in your ideas and obviously compliment the manager as well. Yeah,
I think you do. I mean, the thing, I always love teams to play football. Good quality football, and so did Mick. So, it was a good blend. It was a good blend, and as I say, in the sense of Mick being what he was, and myself sort of, working hard and taking the lads in training, and also you have a bit of fun as well. You've got to include that, and all sort of work hard is sort of making the two sort of things go together. And I think it did, and in the end, I think they appreciated it.
And we've had ex-players on the show before who've played under Mike, and something that really comes across is how much he cared about his players and the great relationship he had with them. Well,
he did, because, I mean, I never heard any player have a bad word to say about Mick. As I say, we were sort of, we were related as such. We was married to sisters, but that didn't sort of come into it at all. We were there to do a job, and the way I looked at it, I mean, you done the job, you won the league, and, when he was told that his contract wasn't being renewed for whatever reason, I think we were 4th or 5th in the league. But, as I say, that's football.
It's great to have such a sort of an impression, if you like, on a side, even at non-league level like that, so successful and gel so well together. Yeah, I know. I mean, I sort of when I went to Wycombe as assistant, I mean, some of the players they had and the way they gelled, I mean, was really, really good. And, I appreciated them. And I think at the end of the day, wondering what I was doing there, because I played against them, I say, not long before that. And I think they appreciated what I was sort of trying to do with them, by working hard and getting them to play, and as I say, I think it gelled. And such a great dynamic as well for you to be able to work with the players, having been a player at their level as well. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I
I'd have loved to played with them, but it wasn't to be. It was a non-playing position. And, as I say, for experience, I couldn't have wished to be at a better club.
So do you have a sort of, if this is the right word, sort of favourite period? Did you enjoy your time as a player more, or did you enjoy your time sort of coaching?
No, I enjoy playing. I think you can't, playing is the main thing of any footballer's career. Obviously, when I went into management, I was at Slough for 8 seasons as manager, and obviously we won the league there and took them in the conference, which was a great achievement. But you couldn't beat playing. And as I say, I always scored goals, so that was another plus.
And something really special about non-league football, especially locally as well, and the support that it got. Oh yeah,
Wycombe the support they've had over the years. As I say, I remember when I was a kid, getting on the bus at Micklefield, and we had to be up Oaks Park an hour before kick-off to get behind the goal so we could bang the old tin sign when we scored. And they were getting 2,000 people in there just for the reserve games, let alone the first team games. So they've always been a well-supported club.
And how do you sort of compare, if you like, the Wycombe with the other clubs that you were at?
Wycombe obviously were up there at the top, and as I say, even when it was a nice gesture when we got into the conference, because our very first game against Wycombe at Slough in the league, we drew. Martin O'Neill, in the boardroom afterwards having a drink, his words to me was, "Alan, well played." He said, "There ain't a lot between your team and my team. The only thing is, we got a bit of money and you haven't." And that says a lot, really, in whatever stage of football you're in. If you haven't got money, it's hard work. If you have got money, you've got to spend it well, but you can't guarantee success.
No, definitely. And overall, how do you look back at both periods at the club?
Well, I look back and, my playing career at Wycombe was a little bit disappointed in the sense that, as I say, Brian finished being manager because I'd have liked to play it under him. And as I say, really, when you think I joined in the summer and sort of left the week before Christmas, it didn't last long, which I look back and it was a bit disappointing. Again, when I was there as assistant manager, especially the first season, I really enjoyed, and to win the league was something special. And the second season, as I say, although we were going well, we was only sort of fourth or fifth. It was a good team. I look back and sort of with a bit of pride, really.
And do you, as a former striker yourself, have you been following with extra interest, players who've played in a similar position at the club throughout? And also, as a coach, I guess, as well, you probably watch the games quite differently.
Well, you do, because you sort of look at what players are doing, and which, when you're actually playing with them, you don't really take that much notice. But I say, when you're looking from the sidelines, you look at it a little bit different, and where a manager might like one player, the other manager might not like him. I think that's what happened with me, with Ted Powell. But as I say, I think you learn by experience as well. And
really great to have that sort of sense of pride and that connection with the club, and feeling that you played such a part in its history, really. Oh yeah, you can't. You can never take it away. You look back and what Wycombe's done over the years and getting into the Football League, it's fantastic. But if you look back at 82, 83, you see Wycombe won the league then, and I was part of that. Oh, it's been brilliant to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Yeah, pleasure.
Former Wycombe Wanderers striker and assistant manager Alan Davies speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound. Wycombe Wanderers women back in action on Sunday. They were playing at home at their new home, the 1878 Stadium in Burnham. Unfortunately lost by a 1-0 at home to Bournemouth. And Craig spoke to their assistant manager Dan Webber afterwards.
Commiserations on the result today, losing 1-0 at home to Bournemouth. After winning at Adams Park last week in the FA Cup, would you say this is maybe a little bit of a hangover?
It's possibly a little bit of a hangover coming back to Burnham, but I think also we're playing a much better team today. These guys, top of the league, they've won now 3 out of 3 of their games. So I think it was a tougher ask for the girls, and it was they found it hard today.
The match itself, it wasn't one that will go down in folklore of being a classic. No. A 1-0 victory, particularly the second half, very, very scrappy. How do you try and navigate that as a management team when you're trying to break down a team that's making it hard for you? Yeah,
you just have to really look at the way they're playing, their formation, and just see if we can find little pockets where we can find space on the pitch. It was tough today, tough to break them down. We found it hard to get out from the back. And when we get the ball forward, we can hold it up for long enough in order to be able to bring other players into the game. And so, it's very difficult when they press high and they get their fullbacks forward nice and high. So it's very hard to get out.
One person that did stand out for me was your goalkeeper. Yep. She made a string of really good saves in the first half. How would you sum up her performance today, returning back to the team?
Yeah, excellent performance today. Yeah, so obviously Sophie wasn't there last week, but today she came back. She made some really excellent saves, kept us in it for a long time. In the first 20-25 minutes, she made a lot of good saves. Unlucky with the one that went in, but second half I think we improved. Quite as busy in the second half, but she's a quality goalkeeper.
Wycombe Wanderers women assistant manager Dan Webber speaking to Craig at Burnham. Their next in action this coming Sunday in the Berks and Bucks County Cup away to Reading.
Online, on Radio Player and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Still to come on the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear from manager Gareth Ainsworth. You might have heard as well, the Portsmouth game has been moved once again. It was rescheduled to Friday night, but now it'll be a television game on the Sunday lunchtime. That's the 4th of December. Something else you might have heard this week as well, that Adebayo Akinfenwa is coming back to Wycombe, Wycombe Swan to be precise, for 2 screenings of Beast Mode On, his new documentary. On this morning's mid-morning, we welcomed Rachel from Wycombe Swan and Matt from Wycombe Wanderers to tell us more.
Brilliant to get it over the line and get it announced, I think. We've known this has been in the offing for a good year. We've seen the cameras around the place at Adams Park, at the training ground over the past year, and it's been wonderful, for Wycombe Wanderers to have been a part of what we're sure is going to be, a fantastic film, charting Adebayo Akinfenwa's kind of progress from the football pitch to the world of showbiz. There was an announcement yesterday. He's got a wrestling bout a few days before this premiere. He's often involved with the Super Bowl and lots of media commitments. And we've seen this global superstar reach enormous heights in his off-field career, and obviously we were privileged to receive his benefits on the pitch as well at Wycombe for 6 years. So I haven't seen the film yet. I've seen little snippets of the trailers, and we're really, really excited to see it all come together. Wycombe Wanderers will play a big part in it because it played a big part in his life. So it's been a lot of organisation, a few minor scares about date changes and the usual hiccups that come up in the events business, but wonderful to see the event go live and such a phenomenal response already from the local people, and we think people that will travel from London and further afield to be part of a special occasion to celebrate Adebayo Akinfenwa.
So how would you sum up what he was like to work with?
An absolute gentleman.
I was worried about what you were going to say.
Yeah. No, he was wonderful. Do you know what? When we signed him, I received a lot of messages from people that knew him and had worked with him, and they just said, get set for an absolute roller coaster of a ride with him, because you will be busy, you will be constantly requested upon from media and fans who just want Adebayo Akinfenwa to be part of their lives, and whether it's signing autographs or appearing on podcasts or video messages, and that rang true. He put Wycombe Wanderers on the map to a huge extent. His followings are far bigger than Wycombe Wanderers, and you often wonder, a club like Wycombe, consider the state we were in as 2016, considered a relatively small League Two club. What would it be like having this superstar bowling through the place, and would it upset the dynamic or the culture? But he only improved it, and massively so. everyone's so excited that he's chosen High Wycombe as the venue for this premiere. He could have gone to London. He's played at pretty much all corners of the country during his career. He could have gone back to any of those to host it, but Wycombe is where he made a home for the last 6 years of his career, and it's wonderful that he's chosen to come back here and show off his film to the Wycombe public.
And Rachel, great for Wycombe Swan to be the venue.
Yeah, we're absolutely delighted. I think it's just really nice to see kind of the two giants in Wycombe, of the Wycombe Swan and the Wycombe Wanderers, coming together and being able to host it. It's going to be so exciting for us. It's something a bit different. We haven't done a premiere in a while, at least. So everyone's really excited around the venue, about what we're going to do, how we're going to transform the space, how we can make it a really fun afternoon and evening for everyone. So we're delighted to be involved.
Because there's 2 screenings, which I guess brings a number of challenges, but brilliant as well for different sort of types of people if you like to come along.
Oh, definitely. I think the 2:00 screening is ideal for anyone in half term, because obviously it's during half term week, so really fun activity. The tickets are perfectly priced, in kind of a cost of living crisis that we're in. It's really important that affordability is kind of at the forefront for, I think, both of us as Wycombe Wanderers and Wycombe Swan. So we're really happy with that, and that we'll be able to get people in at 2:00. And Adebayo Akinfenwa's offering different things for them. So in the first one, you can meet him and have autographs, and then in the evening one, there's the Q&A session, which we're really excited about. And we just think it'll be a really nice opportunity to get a more intimate and personal kind of experience to see the film, and actually be amongst the first people on the planet to see the film, which is quite an accolade in Wycombe.
Because Matt, there's something quite special that he has such an appeal to such a wide age range as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we're seeing that in the ticket sales, and all the noise that's being created around it is that, we know there were kids that would wait outside after a game for 2 hours to get his autograph, and at the same time there would be fans of 50 years of the club who just want a photo with him, or just to thank him for playing for their team, and he had such wide appeal. And I think what Rachel said is absolutely spot on, that this isn't, although it's a film, this isn't a cinema screening where you turn up, you watch a film and you leave again. This is an experience, and I saw for myself. I took my own boy to the Wycombe Swan a few months ago to watch Zog and the Flying Doctors. I think I may have enjoyed it even more than he did. But he could sit at home and watch a screen, but actually to get him out to the theatre, a real life experience where you've got a crowd around you, you've got everything coming to life on the stage. He was absolutely transfixed for the whole show and absolutely loved it. He was laughing and dancing along. And this isn't just a film. This is Adebayo Akinfenwa immersing himself back in the community, making himself available for photos and autographs afterwards. It's going to be a great experience, not just a film, as we say. It's a great night out, and we fully recommend it to anyone.
Shame I missed Zog and the Flying Doctors. That sounds fantastic.
It was really good, but Tales of Acorn Wood, I'm told, is coming up in November. I also booked my seats for that one, and there's more coming up in the new year, so I'll see you there, Colin.
And if you like Zog's back in February, so...
Oh, fantastic.
Don't miss out next time.
That was initially a joke, but it sounds quite good now. It's backfired. I might well be there. And Rachel, it sounds like a fantastic event and a great opportunity for people to be able to get to something like this, which is quite unusual.
No, definitely, and it's something, like we said, the Swan doesn't tend to offer very often, so we're really excited to just involve people in the community and to have a Wycombe tie in the Wycombe Swan. A lot of the times we get these amazing touring companies, which is brilliant, but to have more of a community-based event with fantastic opportunities going on after the film, we're going to make it as fun as possible before the film. It's going to be a really good day out if you're coming to the afternoon screening, and I think a spectacular evening for the evening performance, and it's just going to be really fun. And the whole team at the Swan is really excited to be involved and to get to do things that we don't normally get to do, and just to be immersed in local people and have local people in the building, which is going to be really fun.
You think, VIP screening, this is only for celebs or something?
Oh no, yeah, buy those tickets. I mean, they're going fast, especially for the evening performance, but definitely come along. The tickets are really well priced. It's going to be a really fun event. There's tickets left in the circle and the upper circle.
So Matt, it's a great advert for, as you say, the club that he's chosen to have the screening here, and also what he achieved during his time at the club as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This was his home, and I think above all as well, it brings together, as I think Rachel touched on right at the start, Wycombe Wanderers and Wycombe Swan are two big, huge organisations in High Wycombe. We're doing a lot of work with the local university as well, and they're actually sponsoring our family day at the end of October against Morecambe that Rachel and the Wycombe Swan team are going to be involved in as well, and we're fully supporting their family day the following day. So, and as you've seen, Colin, with Wycombe Sound, the club and the radio station have a fantastic relationship, bringing live commentaries now. And this is Wycombe Wanderers, actively working with like-minded organisations in the community to bring benefit for so many people. Yes, it's been a hard time with the pandemic, which has put a real dagger in the arts community, the arts industry, really threatened the football industry, and fortunately the club's been able to bounce back from it. Wycombe Wanderers wants to play an active role in the life of so many people, and every chance we get to work with, whether it's the university, the theatre, the radio station, whoever it might be, we're going to fully embrace it. That's what we're all about, and great that this occasion is a fantastic vehicle for us to do so, but I hope it won't be the last time we get to do something like this.
And Rachel, as Matt touched on, after the last couple of years that we've had, and also with the cost of living crisis as well, a really brilliant opportunity for people, as you're finding this week with the Osmonds being off field, to come out for a great night and really sort of enjoy themselves in a different way.
Oh, definitely. I think, especially theatre and football are very similar in the fact that it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's a live event. You're going to see something that you're never going to see again in the same way. Football games don't get replayed in the same way. You might see it again on the telly, but you're not going to see the exact same pass again in a different game. So I think it's really exciting that, football and theatre, especially in Wycombe, can work together, and we can do something really fun. And we're really excited to keep working with Wycombe Wanderers and to just build on this partnership. Wycombe's a really special place, and we have these amazing facilities. We have a theatre, we have a football stadium, we have a wonderful local radio show, and it's great that we can all actually work together and make a really wonderful place of Wycombe and have all these experiences for local people and people further afield to kind of see just how much variety Wycombe has. If you're interested in arts, we're over here. If you're interested in football, Wycombe Wanderers are over there. But actually, if you want a little bit of taste of both, why not try us both out? We're here, and we're really excited to be back after the pandemic. It's been a hard time, but we're very excited, and we're just going to keep going as long as we can.
It's a brilliant message. Thank you both so much for coming in.
Thank you very much, Colin.
You can find out more about the 2 screenings of Beast Mode On, which is on the 26th of October on the Wycombe Wanderers and Wycombe Swan websites. Finally, news from Gareth Ainsworth. Of course, plenty to talk about, not least an eventful game on Saturday, a real kind of positive for the club, and lots to reflect on as well.
We've played better. It's crazy, isn't it? You play like you do against Plymouth and Shrewsbury, and then you don't create as much against Oxford, but that's the one you win. And so football is about sticking it in the goal, and I've always said that, when people say, did you deserve that game? Yeah, we did. We stuck it in the goal more than Oxford, and that's what the game's about. And we can go on about performances and things like that, but it is really about sticking the ball in the goal. And it was a fantastic moment, centre half to centre half. And we knew it would be tough at Oxford. We knew they're a good side. Some good players. They've got a big budget, but they have some injuries as well. I think both teams would getting their players back now, and I'm sure both teams you'll see climbing the leagues. But it was nice because 3 defeats on the spin in the league is not nice for me. It's not for any manager. It's a horrible place. So the boys came through, and they did deserve the win in the end of the way they defended, the way they showed up the defence. I thought there's some real positive individual performances, but obviously it's always going to be about the team for me, and the team come away with 3 points. Fans were brilliant as well. Fans never stopped singing and really played their part. Believe me, they make a difference, and so I want to thank them as well.
I know many fans have watched the video clip of Alfie's goal, Alfie's assist, and also his first touch as well. And presumably that's something you've taught him.
I'd love to take all the credit for all of it, Colin, but we can only put the players on the pitch. We can be the club that attracts players, gets players. We know what we can do with players, but give the credit to the players always. I could never bring a ball down like Alfie probably. So he's a fantastic footballer, and I think that the only surprise with Alfie Mawson is that he's playing for Wycombe Wanderers. I think people have missed out higher up for Alfie, and we're reaping the rewards. Definitely, he's a brilliant guy, and he's loving his football at the moment. So hopefully we can continue getting the best out of him. But he's leading this group. Chris Farino. I thought that he's really maturing as a player now and coming on. I think he's going to be a hell of a centre half, and I'm really pleased he's adapted to the right of a 3 role, and yeah, just really, really positive from the game this week. It's been a real good week.
And I know Phil spoke to you after the game about how it seems to have proved that your trip to the Somme has proved such a sort of a great master stroke. But it does feel like sort of a real kind of reset after that, after those run of defeats. And now I guess it feels, as you say, with injured players coming back, it must feel like this could be the start of something now.
Yeah, listen, if we don't win that game on Saturday, everyone will be moaning saying we should have trained Monday, Tuesday, so you can't win. I just do what I think is right. There is no right sometimes. It's what you feel as a football club. It's what you feel as a person. Life is life. You just got to make the best of every single moment and do what you believe is the right thing to do. And I think that after the Plymouth game, in the dressing room, I actually said to the boys, we couldn't have a better moment to go to the sun. I said, we need this. Get out, get a bit of perspective. You think losing 1-0 to Plymouth when you've performed really well is tough. Wait till you see what's happened Monday, Tuesday to the footballers' battalions, for the people who are in the war, for families back home, both sides. And I'm never going to be one of these told you so. I'm never going to be one of these threatening managers. But I love educating the boys. And if it affected one, it was worth the trip. But I know it affected a lot more than one, and I feel like we moved forward as a club again. Brilliant to have Rob Curry back in the trip and giving me all the blessing in the world to go and do things like that. And I say I'm the manager of a fantastic football club with brilliant people, and there's a lot worse off than me. Believe that.
And I know there's a practice game earlier in the week. Again, a great opportunity to give players minutes and also give the younger guys a run out as well.
Yeah, really, really good that Sam Grace is getting some of these games on now. We're playing Norwich one week, who are total footballing side and popping about, and then we're playing Maidenhead the next week, who are quite a direct side, quite big challenges going in, and so the boys are learning. All these boys who've come out of these academies who weren't told they weren't good enough, just like Anis and just like Chris Farina, both told they weren't good enough for football. We've got a group now who are coming through again, and they need to learn every aspect of the game, every formation, every style that there is, and we've got to make sure that we're giving these boys the best chance of succeeding, and that's what we do. That's why we play these games, as well as your likes of Soleil and Daryl and the older players, TJ and Ali, and getting extra minutes under their belt. Jack Wakely, Jack Young, So no, we're really, really positive. To come through, and again, we've got to make sure that we keep these fitness levels up, because anyone could be called at any time into this team.
And what sort of challenge are you expecting from Peterborough on Saturday?
Huge challenge. Yeah, I was at Peterborough on Tuesday. I went to Peterborough Forest Green, and I think that it was a very one-sided affair, but rightly so. Peterborough have a style. We're gonna have to combat this style, and I've got plenty of stuff I want to do against them, but they are a very, very good side, and obviously they were in the Championship last year. We need to make sure that we're matching, what they've done. They're in the Championship, and they haven't really lost too many players from that Championship team. So competing in the Championship is decent, and we've got to make sure we're on it on Saturday at home.
And does this feel like you're going into a bit of a key month, because you've got a game Saturday, Tuesday? I know one of them's in the Cup, of course, but and again, obviously you've got MK Dons coming up, a team who are in and around you in the table. So another opportunity to really sort of press on.
Yeah, it's still very early days, and it's right. It's early days right until sort of February, March, because look where we were last season. We were 10th place at one stage in March, I think, and so it's staying in and around that mid-table as long as you can is key. I think we've got a great team coming back. I think we've got a great squad, getting fit, and I trust all the players I've signed. We've had a big transition year, with players, Anthony Bayo, Stocko going, and Lee Harrison and Matt Bloomfield now going, and so there's a lot of change here, and people don't realise that affects clubs. That will affect you big time, and we've got to make sure that we are now, just sort of consolidating everything that's been here for years, and making sure we keep our culture and our identity, and that's how we'll do going into these games. But these players coming back are vital for me, really are, and I think there's 2 or 3 coming back for Saturday, which is brilliant news for me.
And a quick mention for Beast Mode On, which has been announced this week. There'll be a couple of screenings, and I know that's something that you've contributed to as well. Yeah,
and this is again a bonus in my life to have met someone like Bayo, and to have played a part in his life. I'm a lucky guy, You don't often come across characters like that, but the respect that we both show for each other will be there forever. And again, he's sorely missed at Wycombe, but he's on to bigger better things in the media side of the world. And there's BT commenting on games. He's got his films coming out. I'm sure he's going to be in all sorts of shows going forward. And he's really becoming this celebrity that he had the potential to become. And so hopefully the film will do really well for him.
And a great advert for the club as well, that he achieved so much whilst here, being the EFL top goal scorer, and that he's chosen to have the screenings in the town as well. Yeah,
it wasn't easy, believe me. We had to keep pushing him and telling him how good Wycombe was and how much we need him, and it was a big thing for him. So we're hoping the respect goes both ways. I know the respect goes both ways, and Bale will be welcome back at Wycombe anytime. In recent weeks, he'd have been welcome back on the pitch, but I've had to do without him for now, and we'll make sure that we welcome him back for his screenings and his media stuff.
Don't forget live commentary from Wycombe Wanderers at home to Peterborough if you're not going to Adams Park on Saturday on 106.6 and on Wanderers TV as well. Build-up starts from 12 in the car park, and full match commentary from 3. See you next week.